Hello and welcome to the show today. Today we're blessed to have Dr. Orlena. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine. So let's get started by having you tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am from the United Kingdom. I trained actually as a pediatric doctor, and 13 years ago, I moved to Spain, where let's say, accidentally lost my clinical career. But this was a blessing in disguise for me, and I started becoming a health coach online. And what I say to people is, I help you create your healthy lifestyle that you totally love and enjoy. And really, what I'm doing is helping you avoid having to go to doctors in the first place.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. So I did something similar as well. You know, when you have so many patients you can see in a day, it's very limiting. So it's great to be able to expand and touch as many people as you can. So what do you want to share with the audience today?
I think what I am all about is trying to explain to people that healthy living is easy and fun. And I'd love to talk a little bit about that, if that's okay with you.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that I see is so many people feel really stuck where they are, and they may know more or less what they need to do, but they don't seem to be able to apply it to themselves because they've got busy lives, they've got work, they've got family. All of these things are going on. And I always say to people, you don't have a knowledge gap, you have a doing gap. And people go, yeah, I know what I need to do, but I can't do it. And if we look underneath that and really think about, well, what's going on here, one of the big factors is habits. And I love to talk about the habit fairy, all of those thoughts that we have in our brain. What should I cook for dinner? How am I going to lose weight? How am I going to do some exercise? I need to do some exercise. All of those things that are that constant, I ought to do this, I ought to do that. Once you have established habits, you've given them to the habit fairy, and they just happen automatically. Now, there's a really interesting paper actually by the Harvard Medical School, and I love this paper because it's a simple, easy read that is accessible to anybody. You don't have to have, a medical qualification to understand this paper. And it talks about how to lose weight and keep it off, but it might as well be talking about healthy living. It doesn't matter whether it's weight loss or healthy living. And it says that there are two keys to healthy living. And essentially, those two keys are to find the system that works for you, the things that work for you that you know you can do. So, for example, I love to talk to people about exercise that lights you up. If it doesn't light you up, you're going to find it difficult. So, you're not going to be doing it. For me, I love, love, love swimming. I'm super lucky. I live near the Mediterranean and swimming lights me up. I love to go swimming. Now, not everybody likes swimming. So you can see how you need to find things that really resonate with you. So that's key number one. And key number two is, not surprisingly, to keep doing it, to keep doing it, to keep doing it. And when we look at these things, it's actually really, really easy. It's really simple to make changes that are really going to have a big impact on our life. And if we take a step back and think, okay, so what are these changes we need to make? I like to break it down to 4 pillars. We're going to eat healthily, which in a nutshell is going to be plant-based, less packet foods, less sugar. Like, none of this is news to you, right? You know this stuff. So nutrition, exercise that lights you up, sleep. Sleep is another really big thing that so many people go, oh yeah, I know, I should have more sleep, but I never get round to doing it. I feel so much better when I have more sleep. And yet people don't prioritize sleep. And then the last one is emotional wellness, our emotions, how we think about things, being happy, our stress levels, our relationships with food. And that bit is really, really interesting and really can have a profound effect on people and really can be the difference between keeping going and not keeping going. But those are the things that we need to do. And none of those things individually are difficult to do. But what happens to people is they take on too much and then life happens, and then they go back to what I call their oak tree habits. So your oak tree habits are the habits that are really ingrained in you, that you do when life happens. And You start by growing this acorn habit. You think, I'm going to walk around the block for a little bit every single day. And you've got this little habit, which isn't really a habit, but you think it's a habit. And when life happens, you go back to your big oak tree habit, which is not walking around the block. And then you feel like a failure. And you feel like you can't make any progress. And what I say is, no, it's just consistency. You're going to have obstacles. There's going to be challenges along the way, but you just need to keep going, and you need to keep going, and you need to keep going. Going back to those two keys, finding the thing that works and just keep doing it. And so on one level, it's super, super easy.
As I listened to you, it made me think about those 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. We know that these simple things can actually help us live longer. The sleep, the exercise, the social connections, and so forth. And there are so many toxins in the environment that certainly avoiding those are important. And so what you're saying is common sense in some respects, but when you're not used to doing those things and you have all these other priorities, it is very simple to kind of get behind the 8 ball and not really take care of that. So it's vital that people understand that. So you're in Spain now?
Yes, I'm in Spain right now.
Wonderful. You get to the Mediterranean. Lucky you. So in America, 4 out of 5 visits to the doctor are due to lifestyle-related conditions.
Exactly.
And, I can only imagine what it's like other places, but that just helps people understand how profound our choices are because, I think I read like 90% of heart disease cases are preventable, 80% of strokes are preventable, over 44% of cancers are preventable. And so if we really, step outside of our habits and we look at our potential, so much could be done. And particularly for women, because of a huge worldwide gender health gap that literally takes an estimated 75 million years of life each year from poor health and premature death. It's easy for women to get so busy and all the things they have to do. I have to be a mom, I have to be a wife, I have to do all of these things. And so that is particularly important for women.
Yeah.
So what else would you like to talk to the audience about today?
Well, I 100% agree with you that for women, it is really difficult for them to put themselves first. And I think this is kind of a natural, it's a normal thing. When you become a mother, you're handed this baby and you're responsible for that baby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And your default becomes putting that baby first. But the thing that happens is that baby grows up. My biggest baby is now 16 years old. And we get into this habit. It's all about habits. And I think people don't realize that we have habits in the way that we think about things. We have habits in our emotions. We also have habits in our actions. But when we think about habits, we normally just think about the habits that we have, the action-taking habits. But that way we think about things, putting other people first, that's a habit. And at some stage, your baby becomes old enough to go to nursery, to go to school, so that you may have a little bit more time and space. And at that stage, I invite you to think, okay, I need to prioritize my health and wellness because nobody else is going to do it. And you're exactly right. There are so many lifestyle problems. And again, it's about habits. So for my personal journey, I grew up in what I call the white refined carbohydrate era. So I would have, I can see you nodding.
I'm so with you.
Yeah, but it was my normal life. We had breakfast, we ate. I think I came from a relatively healthy family. We always had fruit and vegetables. We did a little bit of movement. It wasn't like we thought about health and wellness, but my family was reasonably healthy. But we had toast for breakfast or breakfast cereal for breakfast. Not necessarily the sweet ones, but they still came out of a packet, like cornflakes and bran flakes and things like that. Then for lunch, it would always be a sandwich. We had lunch at school, so we would have a sandwich and perhaps a packet of crisps and a chocolate biscuit. And then dinner time, we might have had a piece of fruit as well. Dinner time, we're eating pasta or rice. So there's a lot of white refined carbohydrates. And for me, it was one of those moments when I really started looking at nutrition. And one of my friends who I knew from medical school, and she was saying to me, oh, you know what? You can reverse type 2 diabetes with diet. And I was like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. Because that's what I thought at that time. And then starting to read things about carbohydrates and how these carbohydrates aren't so good for us, and how actually we know a little bit more about nutrition now than we did so long ago when I was training. It is a long time ago now. But my brain did not want to look there. My brain was like, no, it's fine. I eat bread every day. There's nothing wrong with bread, right? And so you get into these habits, these ways of being, and it takes a little bit of courage to step out of it and go, oh, do you know what? Actually, I could do things differently. And you're talking about, gender inequality as well, and how women are treated differently. And it's really interesting living in Spain, which I think is quite a machismo kind of environment. But I think it can be so deeply ingrained that people don't even realize that they're doing it. Recently, I've had a situation with one of my swimming groups. So I swim with lots of people, and there's one gentleman in that swimming group, and now he's a lovely person. He really is, but he got very upset with me because we normally go at 6:45, and or 6:50. He wanted to go at 7:00, and I said I can't go at 7:00 because it's too late for me. I want to go at 6:50, and we've been going at 6:50 for years and years. And he's like, but this whole group of people should change for me. Why? Well, one theory is because he's a male and he's used to people saying yes to him. And interestingly, the Spanish ladies are like, we should do what he says. And all the foreigners are like, no, we shouldn't. We should do what we want to do. Why do we have to do what he says? But it's really interesting. And I genuinely don't think that he sees himself as a machismo kind of person. It's just so ingrained that he's just like, but everyone should do what I should say. And he doesn't take that step further and think, yeah, because I'm male and you're a female.
Yeah, you're right. When you're raised that way, and even from childhood, things are a certain way. That's just normalcy to you, and it's not that you're trying to be mean and nasty, but you haven't known anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hello, I am Coach Dr. Ann, and welcome to the World of Women Wellness Warriors, other known as WOW. A 2024 report by the World Economic Forum and the McKinsey Health Institute noted that each year women lose approximately 75 million years of life due to poor health and early death. The World of Women Wellness Warriors is a global sisterhood of women who want to be empowered. Welcome back to the show, and today we have Dr. Orlena. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Orlena.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm excited to hear all about your book. Can you tell the audience about the book?
I can tell people about the book. So my book is called Building Simple Habits to a Healthy Me. And it's a really simple action-taking book. If you want a deep dive into science, this is not your book. It is for people who are feeling stuck because they know they have a doing gap, but they don't know how to address that. And so I break down the 4 pillars: the nutrition, the exercise, the sleep, the emotional aspect, and there's worksheets in it. So where are you now? What does life look like? What are you eating like now? Where do you want to get to? So it's really a workbook for you to plan what you would like your, what I call healthy, amazing you to look like. And what are all the knock-on effects when you do that? So, I know for us, we think, yes, okay, you're going to avoid all those horrible diseases. But when you're sitting there and thinking, well, why should I make these changes? The reality is that most people, well, unless they've had a health scare themselves or somebody in their family has had a health scare, they're not really thinking about those diseases mostly. What they're really thinking about is, oh my goodness, it feels quite scary to make changes. And why should I make changes? And the answer to why you should make changes is because you're going to feel amazing. You're going to really enjoy your life. You're going to have more energy. You're going to feel fitter and you're going to feel stronger. And you're going to be able to do all the things that you want to do as you grow older. So it's really about having a healthy and long life and enjoying it as much as possible. And those are the things that are important to people and what people need to use as their motivation and their inspiration to keep going when they are facing those challenges, because everyone's going to face challenges. And at some stage, you're going to get to, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? And then you can go back and go, because I want to be able to play with my grandkids, or whatever your personal reason is, but it's going to be in this book. You're going to journal it, and then you're going to come back and go, yeah, I remember why I want to make these changes.
That's vital because we spend so much time in our careers. We spend time putting money aside for retirement. But so often we can't enjoy retirement because we have all of these chronic illnesses. So just imagine going back to when you start putting money away for retirement, if you started focusing on what can I do so that when I hit retirement, I'm still able to run 20 miles. Not that I really want to do that, but I could, if I actually wanted to, then I think we would be much further along and able to really enjoy the time with the kids, the grandkids, the traveling, and so forth. And so the priorities have been skewed really toward money in a lot of situations. And if you don't have your health and you're unable to take the trips and spend the time with the family that you wanted to, then you kind of miss the boat on that one. So
Yeah,
it's important to
People
rewire your brain.
They don't save up all that money so that they can hit retirement and then need an operation so that they have to spend all the money on the operation. That's not the goal.
Absolutely. There you go. So tell us what your favorite part of the book is.
So I think, I really love the exercise, which is creating what I call your healthy vision and getting really clear on, what's different when I become healthier. And I think people really don't understand that. Actually, I think they feel that, losing weight or having more energy is so far away for them. When I work with people, I really love that actually quite early on, people begin to feel better in themselves. They have more energy and they feel good in themselves. And that's amazing. So that's one bit that I really love. But another bit that I find so fascinating and I really love to talk about is emotions. And I don't know about you, but when I went to medical school, we weren't taught about emotions at all. Either that or I was fast asleep during that lecture. But we weren't really told what emotions are and what emotions do. And it's only my own research and, reading around it in the last however many years that I've really come to understand what emotions are and how they help us. And really, emotions are, our brain is so complex. We are processing so much information so rapidly that emotions are a way of us being able to process that in a different way. So for example, imagine that you're out for a walk and you see a straight, flat thing. Now, that straight, flat thing could be a stick or that it could be a snake. You don't know, but you're busy processing the information. But you have an extra piece of information, which is either fear, oh my goodness, I think it's a snake, or it could be something cute. Oh my goodness, I think it's something else. You have that emotion that tells you a little bit. Now, that emotion may be right. It may not be right. And because of that, our brains are hugely negatively wired. So we are wired constantly to see the danger, even if there isn't danger there. Because, if it is a snake and you go and think, it's a cuddly little cat, and you go and pick it up, it might be lights out for you, as opposed to if it's just a stick and you think it's a snake and nothing happens, then it's not a big deal. So I can see why we're hugely negatively wired. But understanding all of that and understanding your emotions and how our emotions drive us to do things is, it's a really interesting journey, but it's also life-changing for people in terms of, so many people turn to food for comfort, or we do things out of fear or emotional habits. And we don't realize that actually we can change our emotions. And I think for me, this was a bit of an epiphany. I used to think, emotions just fall from the sky, right? I'm either happy or I'm sad, and I don't have any control over my emotions. But that's not true. We don't have 100% control over our emotions, but we can hugely influence them, and we can train ourselves to be more positive, and we can train ourselves to have more positive emotions. We can train ourselves to see the fear and then go, actually, I don't have to be scared of this. It's not actually a danger right now. So we can learn to navigate our emotions and our thoughts. And I think that piece is something that I just find amazing.
Yeah, we have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. So this has been great. Can you tell the audience where they can pick up your book?
Yes, thank you for asking. It is available on Amazon. I personally recommend that you buy it in the paperback version because then you can journal
You can
it.
journal.
You can get it on a ebook, and then you can, but then you can't really write in those ebooks. So that's why I recommend the paperback.
Okay. All right. That's wonderful. Thank you so very much for taking the time to come out and explain these very basic yet life-changing concepts to people.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.